What is going on, everyone? My name's Colby. This is another edition of the Ravens Nest. Finally, we got football back. We've got NFL training camp week one. The Ravens just had their first stadium practice. Bunch of fans in attendance, as well as it being live stream, which allowed me to actually be able to watch practice. Something I've never been able to do before. So it was exciting to get I'll look into an NFL practice, how it's set up. Obviously, they're not really showing anything crazy. It's just a bunch of indie drills, 7-on-7. They had some sort of live periods, but obviously, offensive linemen not wearing pads and all that stuff. Can't really get a feel for how that's going to go, which is an important part of what the Ravens do, but also football in general. The physical nature of the game can't really test that in some of these situations, so that'll be fun to look forward to. Let's dive into some topics. The big one, obviously, this week, Lamar Jackson not being there. Unfortunate whole COVID protocol. From my understanding, he had been testing negative for, I don't know, weeks. Obviously, he had tested positive before, but he had been testing negative recently. It's a weird situation. It's unfortunate. The only good thing from this is that we get to kind of figure out who the backup quarterback is going to be. Is it going to be Trace McSorley, the guy they drafted out of Penn State, or is it going to be the undrafted Tyler Huntley out of Utah? We saw both of these guys in some game action last year. McSorley, he had that pass to Hollywood Brown. It was a weird play. It was a fluke. Hollywood sat down. It was cover two. The safety kind of overran it and then fell, and he just ran away for a touchdown. I don't think that was really anything to do with him. I think that's just a misplay by the Steelers. But Tyler Huntley looked good last year. He had some cleanup time against Cincinnati, stuff like that. He also showed that he could play in a playoff game. Unfortunately, it had to come to that against the Buffalo Bills. But from what I've seen, him and Rashad Bateman have a pretty good connection going on. There's a video of Rashad Bateman burning Marlon Humphrey on a go route, outside release, clean beats him. I don't even think Humphrey got a hand on him. Ends up being a touchdown pass, which is really cool to see live, that Rashad Bateman's competing against the likes of Marlon Humphrey. Obviously, they're going to go against each other in practice. Sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose, but it's nice to see him have early success, especially against a good corner like Marlon. Another big topic of discussion going into this season is the Baltimore Ravens pass rush situation. Obviously, Matt Judon going to New England and Yannick Ngakoue going to Las Vegas is a big hole to fill. Judon more so than Ngakoue. I think Ngakoue was one of those. I mean, let's get him mid-season if he can put us over the top, because the Ravens are obviously looking for Super Bowls here. They had a really good team last year. They were trying to get over the top. They gave up a mid-round pick for him, so it's not a huge loss. I'd say Judon more so, since he's homegrown. He knows the system. Him and his teammates have a good bond. That's going to be the biggest hole, I would say, to fill. But yesterday we got the news: Justin Houston officially signing with the Ravens. They got him on a 1-year, max $4 million contract, which is way below the asking price that was reported. It was reported around like 8 to 10 million, something crazy like that. So with him, the addition of him and Odafe Owe, it's going to be curious. It's going to be interesting to see how that pass rush, the reps line up. Because Justin Houston, he's going to be 32 this year. He gets 32. So in my opinion, I'm seeing him on a third down role. I don't see him getting a ton of snaps. I see their outside linebacker roles kind of being like relief pitchers, where Houston, he's on third down or obvious passing situations late in games. Pernell McPhee being the guy that's in run situations or first down. He's very good against the run. He's solid. He's versatile. He can move inside, so maybe he gets some snaps that way. Tyus Bowser he's the guy they paid. He's the guy that's going to be on the field the most, in my opinion. He is the most versatile. He can cover guys. He can blitz. He's very athletic. The real wild card is going to be Odafe Owe, to see how much time it takes him to get acclimated to the NFL. Obviously, he's big, strong, and fast. That's been reported. He's ran a 4.38 in his combine. We're not worried about him running people down. It's the technical, it's the hand skills, the chops, the two-hand swipes, stuff like that. If he can learn from Houston early on, it's going to be very, very helpful for him and his career. A topic that's always going to be around for the Baltimore Ravens, it seems like, it's their wide receiver battle. This year especially, it's interesting. They've drafted 2 receivers in the first 3 rounds in consecutive years. They brought in Sammy Watkins. They drafted Bateman early this year. They obviously have Hollywood. They bring in Devin Duvernay last year. They bring in Tylan Wallace this year. They trade up from like a 7th round pick up to get James Prochet. They have Miles Boykin. So this is going to be an interesting thing. The Ravens typically only, like, the max they'll keep is 6 receivers. And I think the big defining thing for who's going to be that 6th receiver, in my opinion, it comes down to Miles Boykin and James Prochet. So here's the thing. Prochet, he's got this typical slot receiver look to him and feel to him. He's going to be able to create separation. He's very quick. He can stop and start, which is something the Ravens don't really have. And I haven't really had since Michael Campanaro, but he was always injury plagued. So we never really got to see that aspect of this offense, even when Flacco was here. So I'm curious to see how they fit that into their more traditional big body receiver. As well as, is Prochet going to be the punt returner? Because for him to make the roster, he's going to have to play special teams, which basically means he's going to have to win the punt returning job, because last year it was him and Devin Duvernay fighting for it. Duvernay obviously ended up winning. He was the better receiver. He is their kick returner. And the punt returns, like, it's just, there's not that many of them. So are you really going to make a roster spot for a punt returner? And the flip side of that is Miles Boykin. He played a lot of special teams. He actually has quite a few touchdown receptions. He's a big threat down there. It's the fact that he can't create separation consistently. That's the whole thing with him. But yet again, he plays special teams to a huge role. He's one of their gunners on punt. He runs after kicks and stuff like that. So that's going to be the real deciding factor. Prochet's looked really good. He's catching everything. I don't think I saw him drop a pass yesterday in that live practice. It's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up. And finally, the thing that no one really wants to talk about in training camp is the offensive lineman. For the most part, this is sad. Obviously, Ronnie Stanley, when he comes back, he's going to be a left tackle. Left guard's the unknown. They drafted Ben Cleveland this year. Tyree Phillips has played guard some points in his career, and then they have Ben Powers. Switching over from left guard to center this year is Bradley Bozeman. It seems like they've given him that starter role at center, which is awesome. We need to get the snaps figured out. I remember early in this week, I saw some day one things, like he had some missed snaps. He threw his glove on the ground. He was getting all pissed off. I don't like hearing that, but since then I haven't heard anything bad about it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that doesn't come back to bite us in the ass again. Right guard, we signed Kevin Zeitler. Obviously, he's going to be there. Paid him a good chunk of change. Right tackle, Alejandro Villanueva. He's going to be there. He's going to be a right tackle. He wouldn't just sign on a random team. I'm interested to see how he plays this year, though. He's huge. Guy's he's like 6'8", 6'9", something huge. So I'm going to be curious to see how well he adapts to the Ravens system. He played at Army. He's an Army Ranger. His story's been very well documented. It's going to be cool to see because he's played an offense similar to this. Like, that's triple option style football. He's very accustomed to it. I'm excited to see how he handles the right tackle side. He's athletic. I think he's going to do really well, and he's going to love hitting people. I'm going to love watching him do it. So that's my thoughts on week 1 of the NFL training camp. It was cool to see a fireworks show at M&T Bank Stadium yesterday. Wish I could have been there. Awesome to see. Can't wait to hear some more news this week. Keep in touch with the teams. It was nice to see all the coaches get interviewed. Roman's thoughts. Keith Williams, that guy, I like that guy. I like the way he talks. I like his attitude. And I'm just excited to see this upcoming season, see how he transforms our receivers. So if you like this video and you like Baltimore Ravens content, please like, comment, leave some thoughts for me. What do you think the upcoming season's going to be like? What do you see the roster playing out? Please subscribe to my channel. And thanks, guys.